News from around the globe. Hot, fresh, balanced and objective. On Unity.
Hello and welcome to News Hour on Unity TV. Today is Thursday, the 23rd of February 2023, and it's equivalent to 3rd of Sha'ban 1444 after Hijrah. The headlines. New Naira policy to frustrate Tinubu, Akeredolu. Post Tinubu Obi Atiku Kwankwaso orders sign second peace accord. IGP orders restriction of movement on election days. Poor performance in agri-industry sector lower Nigeria's GDP. And in sports, Pep Guardiola after Man City's draw versus RB Leipzig, winning Champions League was quite easy, it's not anymore. And those were the headlines, and for details and more of the stories, I am Rukayet Sani Ibrahim. The Ondo State Governor Rotimi Akeredolu has said the new Naira redesign and swap policy was targeted at truncating Saturday's presidential election and National Assembly elections. He added that the policy was also targeted at the All Progressives Congress APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu to ensure he lost the election. The governor stated this at the state broadcast aired on electronic media outfits in the state on Thursday morning, barely 48 hours to the election. According to him, the cash swap policy of the APC-led government and the alleged artificial scarcity of fuel are both lethal injections deliberately administered to demarket the APC government, create an uncontrollable crisis in the nation, and finally frustrate the 2023 general elections. He said the goal is to truncate the election and deny the country the service of a true patriot, an endowed visionary with a proven record of character, knowledge, leadership, and performance. It is also an attempt to abuse the principle of the rotational presidency by denying a section of these countries its legitimate right, thereby fueling ethnic disaffection and creating a grave constitutional crisis in the country. Recall that in the course of these circumstances, he has offered clear and unequivocal statements as their stance on this dangerous and unfortunate adventure. To say the least, it is a dagger drawn at the heart of the ruling APC on the eve of the elections in order to destroy it and the government it controls at the federal and state levels, as the nation trudges on. Our resolve to deepen democracy and good governance must remain unflinching and abiding. Ahead of Saturday's elections, political parties and their presidential candidates yesterday signed the second National Peace Accord with a promise not only to ensure peaceful polls but also to accept the outcome. The presidential candidates of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC Aswaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, Labour Party Mr. Peter Obi, People's Democratic Party PDP Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and of the New Nigeria People's Party NNPP Alhaji Musa Kwankwaso signed the Peace Accord Pact at the International Conference Center Abuja. The event, which was the second in the series, was organized by the National Peace Committee, headed by former Head of State General Abdul Salami Abubakar retired, in conjunction with the Kuka Center. In his goodwill message at the well-attended event, President Muhammadu Buhari charged the contestants and their political parties to respect the choice of voters and accept the result of the elections as announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC), the agency empowered by law to do so. The president, who reminded Nigerians that they had no other country outside Nigeria, tasked them to do everything to keep it safe, united and peaceful, adding that there should be no riots or acts of violence after the announcement of election results. According to him, all grievances, personal or institutional, should be channeled to the relevant courts. The president assured INEC, security agencies and all relevant institutions saddled with the responsibility of conducting the elections of his administration's continuous support. He also tasked them to be firm and courageous and abide by the laws and constitutional provisions in conducting the elections. 48 hours to the commencement of the first phase of the 2023 general elections, the presidential and National Assembly elections scheduled to hold on Saturday, 25 February 2023 across all states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT). The Inspector General of Police has ordered restriction of all forms of movement beginning from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on election days. The restriction covers vehicular movement on roads, waterways and other forms of transportation, with the exception of those on essential services such as INEC officials, electoral observers, ambulances, responding to medical emergencies, firefighters, and others. A statement from Force Headquarters said the order, which is part of measures in place to ensure a safe, secure and conducive environment for the conduct of elections, is aimed at ensuring public order management and safety of electorates, as well as assisting the security agencies in effective policing, thereby preventing hoodlums and criminally minded elements from disrupting the electoral process. Similarly, the IGP sternly warns all security aides and escorts to desist from accompanying their principals and politicians to polling booths and coalition centers during the election, as anyone found flouting this directive will be severely sanctioned. He emphasized that only security personnel especially assigned to election duties are to be seen within and around the designated election booths and centers. Also, the ban on the unauthorized use of sirens, revolving lights, covered number plates and tinted glasses is still in force, and violators will be sanctioned appropriately. Nigeria recorded annual gross domestic product (GDP) growth rate of 3.1% in 2002, representing a 0.3 percentage point decline from the 3.4% recorded in 2021. The decline follows lower performance of the agriculture sector occasioned by flooding across the country's farmlands. Also, industry sector recorded poor performance, but the GDP growth in the fourth quarter of the year Q4 22 rose to 3.52% from 2.25% of Q3 2022. The improved GDP growth in Q4 22 was driven mainly by the services sector, which recorded a growth of 5.69% and contributed 56.27% to the aggregate GDP. Disclosing this in its Q4 22 GDP report, the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) stated Nigeria's GDP grew by 3.52% year-on-year in real terms in the fourth quarter of 2022, following a growth of 2.25% in the third quarter of 2022 and 3.98% in the fourth quarter of 2021. The performance of the GDP in the fourth quarter of 2022 was driven mainly by the services sector, which recorded a growth of 5.69% and contributed 56.27% to the aggregate GDP. Although the agriculture sector grew by 2.05% in the reference period, its performance was significantly hampered by severe incidences of flood experienced across the country, accounting for lesser growth relative to the fourth quarter of 2021, which was 3.58%. Moreover, the industry sector was yet challenged, recording a minus 0.94% growth and contributing less to the aggregate GDP relative to the third quarter of 2022 and the fourth quarter of 2021. Overall, the annual GDP growth rate in 2022 stood at 3.10% from the 3.40% reported in 2021. Chairman of Abuja Municipal Area Council AMAC, Honorable Christopher Maikalongo, has called on all the district heads in the area council to advise their youths to ensure peaceful electoral process during and after the general election. Maikalongo made the call yesterday during an emergency meeting with the traditional rulers in all communities in AMAC to ensure peaceful election devoid of violence in the council. He appealed to the traditional rulers to cooperate with the council, relevant law enforcement agencies and all arms of government to ensure a peaceful election and avoid any activity that is capable of tarnishing their images and attracting legal consequences. The AMAC boss, who said that the development of any community depends on the peaceful state of the community, told the traditional rulers to ensure that peace reigns in their various communities at all times so that development can thrive in the council. The district head of Jikwoyi, Nicodemus Machine, who commended the chairman for his cordial interaction with the traditional rulers, noted that it is a sign of good leadership that will foster a good relationship between the communities and the council. An order was granted in favor of a property developed firm Hall 7 Real Estate Limited. Justice H.R. Shagari of a federal high court who made the order also stopped the Kaduna state government from taking further steps in connection with the said plot of land pending and hearing and determination of the originating motion filed alongside the ex parte application for interim injunction. The court stopped the state government from taking any action against the property as it ordered properties to remain status quo ante bellum. In an originating summons attached to the ex parte application, the firm is asking for an order nullifying and settling aside the notice of revocation withdrawal of rights of occupancy over the subject properties, as well as the letter dated 17 October 2022 and entitled Rebuilding Permission SN 1460 purporting to withdraw the building permission granted to the applicant on the properties for being unconstitutional, null and void, and of no effect whatsoever. It also asks for an order directing the Kaduna state government to pay 5 billion naira to the applicant as compensation and damages for the violation of its fundamental right to its property stated above. It also asks for an order of perpetual injunction restraining Kaduna state government from interfering with or continuing to interfere with the applicant's enjoyment of its rights, interests and investments on the said properties. The applicant's company said it was not given any fair hearing in the processes leading to the purported revocation, withdrawal of its rights of occupancy and building permission. It also states that it was not paid any compensation in that regard as mandatorily required by Section 36, subsection 1 and 44, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The applicant stated that notwithstanding the pendency of the suit, the Kaduna state government proceeded with its plan to alter and destroy the subject matter of this suit and thereby overreach the instant application and render the proceedings before the court nugatory. Furthermore, hearing in the case have been adjourned to 15 March 2023 for hearing of the originating motion. And in sports, Man City are forced to settle for a draw in the first leg of the Champions League round of 16 tie. Pep Guardiola defended the result, saying the Champions League is so demanding now. Before it was quite easy, but today all the teams are really strong and well prepared. Riyad Mahrez's first half goal had seemingly set Guardiola's side on their way to the quarterfinals as they dominated the early proceedings in Germany, but Leipzig bounced back and found a deserved equalizer through the head of Josko Gvardiol. Neither side could find a winner on the night and the tie remains in the balance ahead of the second leg next month. Guardiola is hunting a first Champions League success. Still with Manchester City, after some high-profile failures in previous seasons, this performance in Germany was criticized by former City fullback Danny Mills, who was reporting on the game for Sky Sport News. He said City aren't killing off games. In the last few years when I've watched City, it's been 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. It's been sensational the amount of goals they score. They aren't blowing teams away like they used it before. Pep needs to look at that. Guardiola, whose side are in the midst of playing 5 straight away games in 13 days, felt those level of expectation on his side in a competition of this depth are not in keeping with the reality. He said this is the Champions League. Big clubs are in the Europa League right now. It's so demanding now because it was quite easy, but today all the teams are really strong and well prepared with good managers. With this story, we've come to the end of our bulletin for today. You can follow us on our social media handles at Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at Unity Radio FM TV, respectively. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Unity TV. My name is Rukayet Sani Ibrahim. Thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of our programs.
Unity.